Good evening, everybody. This is Meg Nocero, and you're Manifesting with Meg. And tonight I have special guest Jessica Quesada, who has joined me to deal. We're talking about dealing big time as Super Wonder Woman. With gratitude, because honestly, this is a superpower that you want to add to your arsenal for sure. And as we discussed tonight, this is lucky episode 13, Attitude of Gratitude. Yes. So we start off, obviously, by setting our intentions, and Jessica has to set a number in her mind. So I have to tell you, Jess, this is by far one of my favorite topics. In fact, every night when my kids were young, we used to put them to bed. Instead of saying our prayers, we'd ask them, attitude of gratitude, what are you grateful for? Count your blessings, so to speak. And they would say, I am grateful for, it was like a sing-song. And it became something that became a part of our evenings as well as our day. And the coolest thing was, during the night, you set your attitude of gratitude to those things. It lets you reminisce and think about those things that you were grateful about during the day. And then in the morning, you say it again, so you set your tone for the day. So I have to say, what I am grateful for on this 19th of November, specifically, I want to give a shout out to those people who joined me on Give Miami Day and were supporting my Shine nonprofit. I am incredibly grateful for all those incredible people who helped us with that as well. Yes. In addition, my friends and family, who I love beyond love. The fact that I'm a dreamer, I'm so grateful for that as well. I love to follow my bliss in such a way that I like to bring magic everywhere I go. And that is something that has gone with me. And when I actually authentically come alive and actually embrace that, it makes my life even more intense and incredible. And then also for the opportunities in life that I am actually the granddaughter of Italian immigrants, and I've had the opportunities I've had because I had people in my life beforehand who basically took the risk to come over here. And I think that you have a similar story with regard to your background. And finally, drumroll please, the most important for this evening is I'm grateful that Jessica's here to talk to me about gratitude, because she is definitely one of those bright lights in the world that everyone needs to meet if you haven't already. And I've had the pleasure and the blessing to know her over this last, God, it's been like about, almost 18 months, maybe 16 months now that I've gotten to know you. And before that, through social media. So I definitely want to give a shout out to her and thank you so much for coming. And I don't know if you want to say anything initial about gratitude and what you're grateful for tonight.
I mean, attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, what are you grateful for?
I'm so grateful for your friendship.
Oh,
and
me too.
Just for all the amazing things that are happening this year, that's for sure. And my family and my friends.
That's awesome. So there's a lot of power behind that. And I have to tell you, November is the time of the year where we're actually, this particular week specifically, we have Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. And my favorite thing to do on Thanksgiving is certainly to go around and express to my family how grateful I am. But it's the whole act of saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, that changes the tone of a day, a life, a whole season, a lifetime. Yes. One of the cool things is, like I said before, and I love that you're wearing your Wonder Woman tiara, so to speak. One of the coolest things about gratitude is it actually is a superpower. When you actually embrace the whole concept of what gratitude really is, you kind of leap to great bounds, right? Or, you know, you can conquer things that you didn't think you could because you are actually acknowledging those blessings in your life. So I want to say, let that be your prayer, and the universe will certainly respond in kind. Yes. And as you know, being called Miss Brightside, right? Jessica is a proud native Miamian who was born and raised in Little Havana. So all of you who are out there listening today who are also from that area, you've got one of your representatives here today.
305.
There you go, Miss 305. I don't know, maybe you can't take that. You can't take that title away from Mr. 305. But anyway, you're just as wonderful. I have to say, she's a proud mother of her 17-year-old daughter, Christina, and a loving and loyal daughter as well, and an engaged community activist, which is probably one of the things that promotes that act of service into the world for her and makes her come alive. She gives best when she's giving back, and that adds to her brightness, which is probably why she's called Miss Brightside. So her story is one of passion and perseverance. Really interesting. I'm going to touch upon this, but I really want you to get into it. You know, at 17, she found herself pregnant and dropped out of high school. So she had a lot of challenges along the way to her success and where she is today and who she is today, which is, you know, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I have to say, even with those challenges, she found a way out to get her GED, get involved in the community. Right now, she is actually a member of a fast-growing insurance company, and you can speak to that. And also, she supports a lot of good works in the community as well as different events. And tomorrow, you said you were actually going out and supporting...
Yes.
What's
Chapman Partnership.
Chapman
We're
Partnership.
gonna go feed the homeless there.
So
we're gonna be there from 5 to 7 and just help the crew in the back in the kitchen and serve and maybe sit people down and take their food to them and just make them feel welcomed and loved.
So she takes where she is, finds what she's passionate about, grateful for the gifts she's gotten along the way, and then returns in service, which is amazing. So I said before, service is what saves you, it seems.
Yes.
From Unity on the Bays, Angels Forever, Angels Everywhere
Yes.
group to feed the homeless, like you said, tomorrow is one of your opportunities. You know, when you give back, that is your superpower. And now, even as you navigate other challenges in your life, when your mother's going through cancer diagnosis and she's battling it with bravery and courage that you can't even believe, you're standing by her side, becoming that superpower for her as well, so she doesn't lose hope in this whole journey. And in addition, you have used your own communities of Vixen, the workouts that you talk about, and also Intense Sati communities to help you shine your light even brighter. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to say I'm really happy that you're here, and specifically because today on my Magical Guide to Bliss, it's called Look Well to This Day.
Ooh.
And when you look well to the day, you actually start your day as intentional and thankful as you possibly can, looking specifically at the possibilities that are waiting for you, correct?
Yes.
So, looking at your biography specifically, it's clear that you're guided by the beautiful, strong women in your life, and you've been able to embrace those possibilities and emerge from the challenges, like I said before. So what are you most grateful for in your life at this time, or perhaps maybe when you faced those challenges initially?
I'm so grateful for my grandmother, who definitely instilled in me just the love for living life day to day. She loved dancing and she loved being part of the community. My mom, who's showed me so much strength, and my daughter, who's just amazing and teaches me something new every day. So I'm just filled with gratitude. So it's an awesome month to be here.
You know, and it's interesting, you were talking about your grandma and your grandmother's impact on your life. So tell us a little bit about that and why she has left that mark in your life, even though now she's passed away.
Well, I think it's you teach others the most when you're just doing things in action. They usually look at you and they'll follow a lead or something that sparks something in them. For me, it was my grandmother attended a Little Havana place where older people went and hanged out and they met their friends there, and she would always get dressed up to the nine with her shoes and her matching earrings and everything, and go dance and be in community and have friendships. So I definitely picked up from her, just watching her being so loving to her friends. And she had a little crew of 4 women that they were like the Golden Girls. They were like always together, and they really had each other's back. So those little things really just stayed in my heart, and I saw a lot of that side of the community from her. And then after that, I was always just very curious about what's going on around town and things like that. And
well, tell us a little bit about your story specifically, because I know that you had said to me originally when we were first talking that your grandma really helped you through those challenging times. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those challenging times in your life that you actually, you know, it was those times of really hardship that you know, you looked for and were thankful for your grandmother's role in your life.
Yeah, I mean, when I first, I had my daughter at 17, so when I came home with that news, it was very shocking. But my grandma, being the leader of our family, she was like, her saying was, de donde come uno, come varios. So it's like where one eats, everyone could eat. Like, so it wasn't an issue. I never had any feeling of like I needed to take another course of action towards the situation I was in, and it was just loving and accepting, and that was never an issue of mine. So that was huge for me.
So what grade were you in at 17?
11th
You
grade.
were you were a junior in high school.
Yes.
And you found yourself pregnant, and then you're coming home and you're like, oh God, what's gonna happen to me next?
Yeah, and I was a typical 17-year-old. It was like, it was just nutty. It was like, and everyone else was at fault almost, and it was a decision I made. It was very confusing time. Yes. So it definitely opened my eyes. Exactly. It opened my eyes, but things like that, when they happen when you're younger, it's impactful, and it made me just create a new path, and it was very confusing, but all those little things that I picked up along the way, and the way that I wasn't shunned or treated badly about anything, it just allowed at least my gratitude and my love to just grow more.
So what happened actually as far as your decision-making process? Like, it sounds like you were very accountable. You decided to obviously to keep your daughter, which has been quite a blessing to this day.
Yes,
and I met Christine. She's an amazing woman. She's an amazing little girl. She's 17 too. So she's the same age
and
that you
are.
She's
17 now, and that's blown my mind, because I see her now, and while I raised her, it was very confusing. It was very easy to think like I'm not being a good mom, or I didn't have a lot of the tools. And now when I look at it at my age, I'm like, oh wow, I would have done this differently or that.
Yeah.
But regardless, I see her now at 17, and I'm so proud that she's so childlike and loving and caring, and is my biggest supporter. She has my back. I could do no wrong in her eyes.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
right?
really nice.
So
it's
something
really awesome.
That was like you would think that would end, because I know that you were very much a go-getter in high school too, like you are today. But you had all those opportunities that you were in journalism, right? Or you were in the TV
I was
world.
involved in everything. There was if I was an athletic trainer, I was in TV production. I was volunteer with the special needs children, so it was like Best Buddies and the Special Olympics. But the thing was that I never had my GPA up. I don't even know how. In high school, you know how you have to have a GPA to participate and travel with the teams or do anything that you're involved in. For some reason, everyone always just backed me up. They saw my attitude. They wanted to let me be involved, and that saved me, because at that time I wasn't taking in the studies well, but I wanted to still help and just be part of the community. And Mr. Underwood, which was like an award-winning teacher, he went to Disney and everything, got awarded by Disney for his work as a teacher. He was the athletic trainer director, and I still look back and I'm like, how did he overlook that I shouldn't have been participating in this club thing, or and he just allowed me to.
Well, speaking to teachers, like one of the things that I have to say is that I can be that I stand today, am grateful for, are those who've taught me a way to look at the world differently, or taught me how to empower myself, or taught me. So it sounds to me like Mr. Underwood was that kind of teacher for you back then.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And what specifically do you think? I mean, literally, like takes you from being in the crowd to someone who is brought to the fore because he sees talents and gifts in you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was just I would go to, it was a special room by the field, and my best friend Albert actually was class president. He was everything. So he was like a little bit of my opposite in that world, but we still had the same energy. And I've known him since he was so little, that we still had that same energy of wanting to be involved and have some fun and just participate. And then he was a trainer, and then I went ahead and started training with him, and Underwood just saw that I was willing to help. And usually that's half the issue. Kids nowadays, they don't want to help or they don't want to get involved, but I just wanted to help, and he made it possible for me to travel with the team and just do amazing things.
That's awesome.
But the funny part is that looking back in hindsight, it was all getting me started almost for some other stuff down the road, because it was all in that junior year where it's like I had so many amazing experiences, but then at the same time there was my personal decision that I made that just cultivated into another path. But at the same time, I'm reaching back to all those things now.
And one of the things that I find really incredible about you in many respects is that you have switched to the role of inspirational teacher to others. So I know that you have an Instagram where every day you post something that will wake people up and shake them up and get them going. So it sounds to me like, taking back in the day when you had a teacher that did that for you, now you turn around and you will do that for others on a daily basis with other people that you interact with. and that it empowers you as well as inspiring others. So you basically took the role of that teacher, and you basically adopted and you know, with the gratitude that you have for what you've experienced in the past, right?
For sure.
I mean,
For sure.
and let me, you know, one of the things that's like, okay, so I love gratitude because I truly believe that when you're at your most, I guess, sad or dark or whatever, I think that when you start like looking differently at the things around you change, right?
Your perspective on it.
So, you know, even with regards to, you know, finding yourself pregnant at 17 years old, like, oh my God, my whole life, what did I do? It's going to change now. And you at 17 years old, I don't know, I at 17 years old was not ready for anything anything aligned with responsibility at all. I fought it tooth and nail. So, you know, looking back now from the position that you are, where you are now with a beautiful daughter who's 17 as well now, you know, what kind of gratitude do you have for those challenges that arose?
All the gratitude in the world, because without it, I just wouldn't even feel as grateful as I do for the love that is around me, or I don't even know if I would have realized it the same way. I'm very grateful.
Explain a little bit more about that, because I think that, you know, people, you know, in those dark times of our lives, and we sit there and we contemplate, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why is this showing up in my life? Why? You know, then you 20, you know, maybe a year ahead, and you look back and say, oh my God, now I know the contrast. I see the difference. That, you know, with the joy that I'm experiencing now, those whys then, I can actually acknowledge and experience that difference now, right? So, like, tell us a little bit about, like, how you look back now to those challenges and how they've made you who you are, in fact, today.
Well, it was a long time. I experienced a lot of the darkness. I experienced a lot of standing still and being worried and not making moves for myself. Then I also took time to reflect, like, what's the answer? I felt like I was always a seeker of something. You know, I'm still seeking, but definitely asking questions and reminding myself, like, okay, there's a better tomorrow, or gratitude. And I'm not even sure if at the beginning I was doing gratitude like I am now. Like, now I'm a little more like, I'll do it in the morning, a gratitude list and all these nice little ways of doing it. But before, I look back and I'm like, I just feel like I don't take it all, like, I don't think it was all me alone. I believe in a higher power. I think I was definitely guided and protected in some way. And if you're a kind person and you're grateful, things will work out, and loved ones will come close to you, and opportunities will open.
So do people come to you now? Like, I know that you do a lot of opportunities involving service, and do you offer your story to give people hope, so that you can sit there and say, okay, I'm grateful for what's happening now in my life, because if, you know, I'm grateful for the person I was 5 years ago for not giving up, even. You know?
I'm doing that now.
Yes.
Like now.
Right now.
Like now.
Like that. Right now.
It's a beautiful thing when it happens quickly, but it also takes a lot of time and planting seeds and waiting for them to bloom. And I feel like I never stopped being loving towards friends, and they've never stopped believing in me, even though I'm like, what are you believing in? Like, I don't have anything going on right now, but they believed in the simple quotes I was sharing, or just my name is Brightside, which I've had it for since.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, I love the band The Killers. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just,
The Killers is a great band.
I love the band, and they have the song Mr. Brightside. So in the MySpace days, I'm like, I want to make a name in my little MySpace page, and I said Miss Brightside, and then in some weird way, it just almost reminded me also to look at the bright side, and then it became my thing, and then I started sharing, and I started getting fed by it. And the thing is that it's funny, because it's supposed to be selfless, but sometimes you are selfishly getting that, like, by me going out to volunteer, I'm getting fed by it so much, and by my friends believing in me, they'll feed me into where I need to be, so it just works out.
You know, I have to tell you that I love the fact that you call yourself Miss Brightside. Looking on the bright side of things certainly shifts you from looking, you know, at the glass half full, then looking at the glass full, glass half empty, and then the glass half full. So, with that, at least you have something you can work with. There's something that you can start to shift, to change, to move forward. So I love that you associate with that. Also, the fact that I have to tell you. So the story of how we met, and and I'm a very grateful person for the most part. I try to say, my father will even say, attitude of gratitude. That's what Meg says all the time. And the thing is, the reason why is because I truly want to be in the moment, in the conscious moment of mindfulness, that this is a gift. This person is a gift. You are a gift in my life. Where I am is a gift in my life. The opportunities I have are gifts in my life. So when I actually start to acknowledge and validate from that place, as many of us may do or may not do, maybe want to start that, then it starts to empower your life to live differently. And I can tell you this, when I met Jessica, it was very interesting, and you can tell your perspective, but I'll tell mine as well. But I started out as an author of the Magical Guide, really afraid, really this is a gift I had felt I wanted to share. And the thing was, I was afraid of being judged by other people, that they're going to say, oh, she can't write, or she doesn't know these words, or whatever, like judgment. And I was like, well, you know what? I can't be stopped. So I can't be stopped by what I assume other people will say about me. And the interesting thing was, when I resigned from my former job, I was very in fear as well, but I was taking the leap of faith anyway, because what's the point? I can be scared and hide behind a wall and never do anything in my life, and just always be wishing, but I'm a dreamer, so I have to be compelled to actually move forward. And then Jessica came into my life, and I don't really know if she understands how important her role in my life has been, because not only did she share with me how excited she was to get to know me because my words impacted her, but we've since become friends in a mentor-mentee, as well as a sharing experience where even my own daughter is also blessed by knowing her daughter, and Jessica as well. So tell me a little bit about that, as far as how you use your intuition and how grateful you are for your intuition, as far as how you take the next step forward and when you do.
Well, I'm definitely grateful by my intuition, because I got to meet her, because I followed it, and I was just I was in a very dark place at that time. I even remember telling you, when I first met her, she was throwing a party for her leaving work. There was a party, and she's like, we're meeting here at this spot. And then I'm like, I told my friend, Pris, hi Pris, I know you're watching, and she's like, let's go. And you always need one of those friends that get
love
you out of
friends.
it.
Come on, let's go.
She's like, let's go. I'm going with you. But I want to backtrack a little bit. My sister Leslie gave me this book 2 years prior, and I read it, but for some reason I never looked her up on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm thinking, well, she's real. I see her little picture in the back. Let me look her up. But when I did, I was in a right frame of mind. I was reading that, I was using the book as a guide to reflect on how much I'm showing up for myself, because if I couldn't read this one little passage and just get that message in my heart for the day, then I felt okay, that was just my gauge, on the day. And I started reading it again, on and off, for 2 years. Meet her. She announces about the party. I go to the party, and I remember telling her, I probably wouldn't have even come, if this would have happened a year ago. But then again, that was the year I searched for you.
Yeah.
So my instinct told me somehow, and it's always led me right, because like I said, back in high school, I was always in the right path, and there was always something. I've always thought I was so shy, but when I tell that to people, they're like, you're not shy, but I am. But
well, I don't think that you're shy, but then again, you took a leap of faith, so
that's the thing. It's almost like that. People like to say, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just have to get out of your fear and just go. And I went ahead and met her, and it was just amazing. And I'm here, I'm thinking she's gonna have a flock of other fans, and it was her coworkers, but I'm here showing up as, I'm your fan of the book.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it was great, because then you tell me that, and it's if we were both inspiring each other to keep going, because sometimes you do feel like you're in the dark, and you know your friends love you, but you still want to know that maybe some other people do or something, or you want to sign.
and you know, it's so much, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to pay attention for those people who come into your life when you need that extra push.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to go. You can't stay here. You need to move forward. Right.
You to me,
and
too.
that was you to me too. So then you realize that how we're so interconnected and that we're all here really for each other.
Yeah.
And when you do, then the judgments kind of fall away because, okay, people do judge. There are naysayers out there. They're scared too. They don't want to do.
That's their mechanism.
That's what they're doing. They're like hiding behind the fears, hiding behind the doubts, when really, in actuality, they kind of wish they want to do the little bit of what you're doing too. And they don't realize how scared to death you are as well, but you're just like, no, I don't want to look back and have regrets.
Yes.
So, and I know that we were speaking to that for us as far as gratitude with regard to your grandmother. You know, she taught you how to live a life with no regrets.
Yeah.
And that's when you decided to move out on your own and start your life.
That also would have been like, what? Like,
yeah.
I was
amazing.
I think because of having my daughter at 17, there was also certain growths that got stumped a little bit, and fears. I totally grabbed onto so many extra fears at that time. So even moving out was like another shout out to my friend Samara, who really helped me also with that one little moment. It's, you know, it takes a team sometimes, a village. And
let me tell you, and we are a village. We are, regardless of whether you want to believe it or not. We are a village. We all have the energies interacting with each other. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, I mean, with regard to your fears, I have to speak to that because I honestly, you know, how brave you must have been to decide, okay, I'm a junior in high school and this is what I'm going to do. Or I actually...
It didn't feel brave.
Well, if you're looking from the outside, I don't know many people who would have owned that. And literally owned that to such a point where their life was not anchored in a victim mentality, right? Because if you know this girl, and I know her, she is no victim. She is a victor. She moves forward, and she actually is out there trying to find and getting curious around what it is that she's here to do. And that's the seeker in you. I can tell you that. But so even coming back to that point when you're like, okay, what is my next move? Where do I go with that? Like, I have to say, this appreciation for where you've been and where you're going inspires many. Clearly, and I was loving it because we were talking about the effortless momentum, and I love effortless momentum. I think when you talk about when you actually get into the flow of life, how effortless those things are, because then you're like, like I said, more and more things to be grateful for. So you were talking about this last weekend, and I want you to share with everybody what has happened, because you are definitely in the effortless flow of your life. That momentum, you are grateful for it, you're buying into it, and you go.
For sure.
Yeah. So tell them exactly what happened.
One?
Well, everything.
Everything.
Like, share. Do share. Tell everything, because I think it's very telling when you share. Other people get inspired as well.
Well, I'll share with. Okay, so I met a friend, and in a very random situation, and then when we connect through social media again, because for some reason my instincts, like, you know, she was very nice, she was a cool girl, I have no idea who she was, but I contact her and we connect, and she ends up being a trainer at a local gym, and then she puts me in touch with another trainer who happens to have been in Miami for just a year from New York, and she brought over the Intensati program, and she's the only one doing it in Miami. I never knew about that program, even though I love seeking out new things.
So tell them what Intensati is.
Intensati is a spiritual fitness program, and it was developed by someone named Patricia Moreno. She's in New York, and Intent stands for intention, and Sati is for mindfulness. So she put these two things together after dealing with a lot of hardships herself in that fitness world that sometimes can't be very judgy. And so I come across these girls, they tell me, let's go meet at Kennedy Park one day. I see what this program is. I'm here like thinking, oh my God, this is perfect, because I am exercising. I do seek meditations, I seek books and information, but then this program, it's like a safe haven for all of it. Like, it literally sets you up for in the morning, like have a routine to learn something and give something and be grateful, and then work out. Gives you a bunch of stuff that I'm like, this is what I'm doing already, but it is awesome. So I go ahead and meet the girls, and then the connection happens where I remember, I won't forget, Natalia looks at me and she goes, would you be willing to ever be an Intensati leader? And I was like, no, I don't know, not right now. I'm not ready for that right now. So then I went home and I told my boyfriend Ralph, and he's like, why did you say no? You always have like a Seinfeld moment where it's like, you say something, but then you're like, oh, how do I get out of it? So I said, all right, I'm going to fix it. And I told Natalia, I'm like, I didn't really mean that no.
That's awesome.
For whatever reason, I followed my instinct. I'm like, I didn't mean that no. I'm just going to put it out there. So she was like, okay, great. So we go back out, and she's trying to kind of train the other friend that I had met to be an Intensati leader. So we're all cheering each other on. And now she made it known to me that I'm going to be gifted a scholarship to train like in New York next year with Patricia Moreno. And then now I'm going through the stuff, and just this last weekend they both left to leadership training in New York. So she's like, in order for us to keep the habit of meeting Kennedy Park, I went ahead and said yes to teaching my first class, which was super nice and it was fun. And I'm like, it's crazy. And it all happened through that. And then also through an Intensati class, I met another girl who works for the Miami Foundation, and then she was able to give me a shout out for why I give during this Give Miami Day. And that was just so connected.
It was beautiful too. The picture, I'm gonna post it on the Facebook feed, because it's a beautiful picture of both of you and your daughter, and then why you give, and then what you have taught your daughter how to give in this world. And you know, I have to tell you, so like when you have these little experiences, and it's funny because with Intensati, I actually know about the program, and it's funny because I have been impacted by it as well. So I know the leadership program, and it's quite an opportunity. I mean, it is really an amazing opportunity of leadership, of actual positive reinforcement for yourself, and teaching your brain how to feed your whole mind, body, spirit with positive reinforcement, positive sayings. And I can't think of a better leader than Jessica to go up there and learn this. So what an opportunity.
That's crazy. And I didn't know what it was. So it's like, if I feel like if it was my prayers answered, because I was a little bit in a moment where it's like, all right, I have this gift where people contact me for my donation drives and my stuff, and they like it, but what is it? And then this came up, and now it is a thing. It's like I looked it up, and I'm like, this is huge. So wow.
So you know, you have this momentum going on. I'm just gonna ask a question in the tail of that, because I think it's really important. Because everybody is waiting to be grateful in life for those big things that happen, like these big accomplishments. And only until that happens will I let down my guard and actually show that I'm really happy and excited and this is great. But it's really the small little things that when you're grateful for those, it's the feeling of gratitude that comes over you. And it's the same thing as if it was like I won the lottery or something, because basically every day you can actually be feeling like you won the lottery by virtue of something like this happening. Because a leadership position or even opportunity, this is a big thing, mind you. But you even going to a park where you find people who have the similar mindset is something that's small, but yet it is the same thing. So big, huge, small, right? Huge. So how do you... And
I've been on that path, so finding just the friendships that are talking about the same things, like wanting to get organized better and doing this and sharing tips was like, oh, I'm not alone.
That is another thing, that you're not alone, that you are and will be surrounded by like-minded thinkers when you embrace that kind of mindset that will be empowering. And I know that that's something that's really important to you as well, as far as you're navigating your own path. Okay, so speak to me a little bit about the whole idea of service and how you got started doing that and why you do it, and what kind of feeling you get from the whole process when you're doing something like the homeless drives or the backpack drives that you just recently accomplished.
Well, it definitely stemmed from my experience in high school. I wasn't great with the books, but I always was wanting to be involved, and giving and doing community service things was already in my life at that time, because it just was fun. I was meeting people, I was out and about, I was being a teenager, but it fed to me for some reason. I mean, I don't know, typically teenagers don't like that stuff, but for me it was just exciting. It was giving me that sense of confidence, like people were excited that I was helping. It was like a give and take of energy, so I gravitated towards that. And then when I had my daughter, and it was like, I call it, the hazy time, where it was like, okay, I have to be a mom, but then I like doing these things. I noticed that I'm like, let me go back to service, and I started at the community action agency that was on Flagler, and they would give out food. And
Is it still there today?
It's not, actually.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
And I have a little bit of a seed idea there that I would love to open up, like something like it, just because it was awesome. It was so nice to have something in the community that.
So it was called Community Action
Agency, CAA.
Okay,
and
CAA. Okay.
Yeah, and they were just like a resource center, and they would help out people fill out forms, and they would bring food there, and we would hand it out. Nothing's around that area anymore like that. That was around like the Riverside, Miami River area.
Okay.
And so then I got a lot of gratitude from that. It just kept me at least moving forward. It was really hazy time, and then an opportunity. Yeah, I was like,
it's hazy. You're probably like so bombarded by so many things that you can't even see straight.
Yeah,
right?
And sometimes when that happens, you just stop.
But you found your way to this community action center. So.
Yeah, I found my way there, and I lived down the street. I would walk all the way over there, and walk back, and it just kept me moving. It kept me excited towards something. That's what I really.
Yeah.
Felt like you have to have something to look forward to.
Totally
It doesn't
agree.
matter how small it is. That's why I'm a big believer on the small things. Just something to look forward to.
That's beautiful. And I think that I love the idea that you speak to that, and that's something that like really left an impression in your life as you do move forward. And actually today, because today, like you were telling me before, you had a backpack drive that you started with regard in your workplace. And tell us a little bit about that and how that got started.
We started that a few years ago, and it was just again, I got lucky to meet some people in my office that love giving back, so I've been blessed with that. And then we have this idea, and we started doing it like for 10 kids. Then it grew, and this year we collected 300 backpacks. Wow. And that was super exciting.
That's
and
amazing.
Just the hustle part, we like it. We like shopping. So we would look at the circulars.
So you're
and be
grateful
like,
to have the opportunity to go shopping.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh yeah,
That's
me and Christy would run to the Walgreens, and we'll be like, and it's exciting. It's fun. It keeps you
excitement. That's so true.
It's exciting. It was fun to get the deal, and just also there's another layer of like another small moment, because even when you're at the register, people are like curious. What are you doing? What are all those book bags for? And then you're like spreading the word. Just this past week, I bought, with the funds that we collect, because at my job we collect throughout the whole year with dress downs and stuff, so we don't really need to bombard people and ask for money for the big things that we want to do. We have money already allocated for it. And we, at the last minute, the resource center needed the food, so I got the money from our funds and ran to Walgreens, Winn-Dixie, and bought everything, which at some point I hope to have like some connections. That will be the next step.
That's the next She's bringing it into the universe.
Manifesting with Meg.
Yes, exactly. Manifesting. You're manifesting.
I'm putting it out there.
You're putting it out there for sure.
So definitely, like, I ran to the grocery store that night, bought everything enough to feed 30 families this year. So we got everything ready.
Amazing.
And at the line, they were like, "Oh, is that for you?" And it was a cart full of stuff. I was like, "No." But then we started talking about it, and it's just nice to wonder what happens to those little things you put out there. Like if that person goes home and maybe thinks about it and says, how can I give? Or if that kid sees you with all these things, it's cool.
And they start the conversation because they asked you, right? And you
so now it's like, oh, look,
something. Yeah, for sure. That's amazing.
It's cool.
I love that. And you obviously motivate your sisters as well, because they watch you, what you're doing, and you're the oldest child of 3, right?
Yes.
And even the way you all take care of your mother right now with regard to what she's going through, I do understand that experience as well, and I'm grateful for my own sisters and how important they are in my life, and how we have become we were always a cohesive unit, but because of our mutual love of our mother, we were brought into a closer, tighter tribe that we have a mutual love. Clearly that love is more bound, it has fewer bounds, and we've been able to experience on a different level a compassion for each other, as well as for our mother at the time. And I know that that's something that you're going through as well right now.
And even there's gratitude, because if it wasn't for such a thing to happen, we wouldn't be as united as we are. I mean, definitely that created something in our lives that we just turned, like everything else that was going on, we turned it off, and we got united, and that was a huge testament in my life, because I was like, I don't even know if without that we would have been as united as we are. So it's crazy.
Right. I always say that no man is an island, and certainly you don't want to live in isolation. So when you actually connect at a time in your life that's a challenge with those people who love you and you love them, it definitely is something that makes that relationship and that experience stronger, which I think is amazing. You know, one of the people that I do love is a writer. Her name is Pam Grout, and she wrote a book called E Squared. It was scientific experiments as to the field of potential. She calls it the FP. And, you know, you're a very intentional person. So as you said, manifesting into this world, intentional in this world, bringing possibilities to light in this world. Once you start to understand that you are in this world to be of service, and like you said, to interact with others by, you know, turning their light source on, right? Which is really what you do. Reminding them that the internal power is within you, not externally, so you can actually look within. And but that is the gratitude that you have, and then every day becomes a testament to that you've had that light source, you know, turn brighter and brighter and brighter, so that you shine for more people to see. And I'm excited because this year you're a part of Shine. You're actually going to be participating with us in Shine. It's already started going, and it's already started moving, and I'm grateful for you when you stepped in, and you say, because like you said, it's the different communities that you expose yourself to, right? And different people that you get to know, and the different networks, so you don't know what kind of like out to the universe, that one person who's going to connect you to the next person.
No idea.
You have no idea.
I've always felt that like you have to be careful, but it's funny because in the corporate world, maybe you might hear those things like saying you never know who's going to be your boss one day, but also in the sense of like you just don't know who. I've been discounted a lot, but I haven't put myself in the discount bin, but other people probably did, and it's like, you know, no.
Well, the one thing I love more than anything is that, you know, regardless of whether other people give up on you, it doesn't matter as long as you're continuing to like, I'll bet on myself all the time, because believing in yourself, like I reiterate from last week, I said the same the last time I was on my manifest, believing in yourself, you know, that confidence that you bring to the table, that you're here on purpose for a great purpose, and being grateful for how you show up authentically in this world, which is beautiful. Beautiful. Every person has a light to shine. And once they embrace it and own it like you do so well, then you decide how you live your life.
Exactly.
You show. But you've done that. You've done that, and you've decided how to live your life. And you know, you can even speak to
trial
that.
And error.
Well, speak to that.
I have been in situations where I've seen the contrast for myself firsthand, where it's like every time I was in the following state of mind, like let me go with the pack, and this is what they're doing, or this is the trend, and this is what's going on. It never worked out for me. It just didn't. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't from my instincts. It was always just didn't feel right. So each time I felt that, it would just take me back to seeking an answer, like okay. And then right back, and it's just like a constant, like trial and error.
But that is life,
testing
right?
it out and going right back.
But that is life.
You know
right?
what? But you have to know the difference of going within for the answer compared to getting stuck trying to find it somewhere else, which I've also experienced in books and things. But then they all tell you the same thing. Like, go within.
Yeah, well, it's true. And then, but sometimes a message comes across and it resonates with you. And other times, someone could be speaking another language, and it might be English, and it doesn't have any import at all, and you're kind of like, I don't get this, you know?
Right.
So the whole point is that as you walk this path we call life, right, and navigate away, we're all looking for those messages that'll bring us back to that center part of us. Yes. And when we get back there, how grateful are we, right? Yeah. Because you're like, oh, I remember who I am. And that's what you've been saying. Like, you remember who you are.
Yeah.
Right? You know who you are. You remember who you are. And then when you remember who you are, now you know.
Yeah.
That you stand solid in the shoes,
firm.
right?
Yeah.
You stick your tiara on, you stick your Wonder Woman tiara on, and you're like, okay, this is me. I'm going to show up like this. Exactly. This is how I know. I'm not going to imitate anybody else. I'm going to own it. And which is what you do every day. You own it because you are now succeeding where you work.
Yeah.
And now you get to decide how your future looks because you make that determination, right?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of you.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of you. And that's also going to be the beauty of how you impact many others who come and show up as well, right? Which is so crazy exciting at the same time. So I have to tell you, going back to, being grateful and the teachers in my life, certainly I've had many. And like we were talking about before, your own personal teacher who brought you to the fore. And even now, you have many teachers who show up all the time.
Friends, everyone. Like, I'm learning from everyone all the time.
But you also are a teacher to others, especially your daughter. Yeah. And tell me about your daughter. She is also on the autism spectrum, right?
Yes.
But you've got her involved in many of the activities as well of service, right?
I've seen literally my experiences just being boosted in her life. It's just the same things that brought me joy and pleasure are... It's coming to fruition in her world, because she'll go to Chapman and she'll get in the back to wash dishes, but she loves the helping and the teamwork part. And sometimes you might not have a career to express that in, but there's still a way to express it, and you have to find it, whatever it is, whichever way.
I want to speak to that too, because you had to find your voice too, and you found your voice, and now you're benefiting your daughter.
Yeah.
And there's no one who's going to tell her she doesn't have a voice. And I know we've spoken to this, even in school where she's going through. Yes. You will provide, you are her champion.
Exactly.
Because you remember how your grandmother served you, right?
Yeah.
So you turn around and then you offer that to those who follow.
And that's all I had to offer. Really, that was all. Like, I had her so young that the only thing I would try to pour into her was all I knew, which was love. And I would make sure that she went to Disney. I made sure she did all those little things that I didn't do, because I just knew that was something. And sure enough, we're going to Disney for her birthday on 17th birthday, and she's a Disney child at heart, and I love it, because I think that whole world is
young.
Inspirational and being youthful. And let me tell you, when we grow up older, you're trying to find that youthfulness again.
Right,
So it's just, sometimes it's getting rid of that ego or that what's everyone else doing, and just being yourself. And she's super herself, so I love it.
So do you remember, so let me ask you something. Do you remember a time where you made that shift and made a determination that, okay, I am going to show up as myself, and that is it. I am going to wear these shoes. Yeah. Probably
that moment I said I was going to have her, because it was a very isolating time. I had friends that came and visited me and stuff, but I definitely was still a child, so I didn't I made the decision to not be in school with the belly and all that type of situation. I did a lot of protecting of myself, but I've learned from that, because sometimes it's not all it's cracked up to be. I probably closed a few doors, but at the same time, you can't look back with any regrets.
Well, they say
I protected myself from something.
So when you know better, you do better. Obviously, there's those quotes, and the fact is that you do what you have to do to get through where you are, and then you use that as the wisdom to get you to the next experience, right?
Yes.
Which is amazing, because many young women who may have been in the situation that you were in at that time would look to you and say, oh my God, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. That's a gift. And the fact is that you've made a life for yourself. It wasn't the end of the world. It's actually a beginning of a new one. Which was a beautiful. Definitely. Oh my God, that's awesome. So I want to say, like what I said before, I said you have those people in your life that show up when you need them most. And I'm sure for you, when you were at your most darkest, whatever, people show up. And for me, I've had a Dr. Sadeghi who's come in and basically shined the light of saying, I'm proud of you. Which those words I hadn't heard a long time, since my mother had passed away. So it was like it breathed life back into you. So I'm very cognizant of when I meet people that I will identify those things that I love about them. So with regard to you, I'm grateful for your zest for life, your enthusiasm. It's a beautiful thing, and it's very inspirational as well as contagious enthusiasm. So when we started today, I asked you to get intentional about what you want to accomplish today, and I asked you to pick a number, right?
Yes.
So what was your intention for today?
My intention was to not feed any of my fears and just be in the present moment and have a nice time.
Well, definitely fun. I do enjoy talking. The two of us could talk
we could
forever.
Go on forever.
Yeah, so there's no stopping that. And you chose the number 28.
28.
So let's
my
see
birthday
here.
is January 28. So, and Miss Brightside 28 on Instagram. So I just love the number.
There
28.
you go. So that's why. So 28. Oh, there you go. So this is your answer for my book in direct response to your intention today. Not feed your fears. So go for it.
Be not afraid. You were born for this. I am not afraid. I was born for this. Joan of Arc, Roman Catholic saint, nicknamed.
And she would wear the
Maid of
tiara of superpower too, because she was a rock star.
I love it.
One
This
of my
was
favorites.
perfect. This was perfect. Page 28. Wow. Yes, you were born for this. This life that you are now living. Everything about it, it was custom made just for you. You don't have to think in terms of justifying your existence. You were born for a reason and you have purpose. You don't need to prove that fact to anyone. Just believe it, know it, and most of all, live it. As William Shakespeare begins the monologue spoken by Jackass in Act 2, Scene 7 of his 1599 play, As You Like It, all the world's a stage. You are the principal actor in your own personal theatrical performance. You can make choices to live out your production with flair. You can choose to dance, sing, and laugh as much or as little as you like. You can choose to inspire others by being true to yourself in all that you do. You can live your life moving to the beat of your own drum, and in doing so, live a charmed life.
There you go.
Learn as much as you can as you travel your path. Take in the wisdom that is offered to you and absorb the love that is gifted to you. That's great. Be humble when necessary and be bold as well.
I love that.
And do not forget to smile when necessary and be bold. Bold as well. And do not forget to smile when the awareness washes over you that you're exactly where you are meant to be at any given time.
There you go.
That was a good one. You're an empowered soul who is not afraid of declaring to the world that yes, you were born for this.
Right.
Whatever this looks like to you. For this intricately well-imagined life has been specifically prepared just for you. There is no greater feeling than truly believe that in whatever you do, you can boldly say, I was born for this.
That's right. And your key would be?
And the key is believe that you are here to accomplish great things. Write down what that looks like to you.
So I would say that with this interview today, you've accomplished great things, because basically you are embracing with gratitude who you are and how you show up in this world, which is beautiful. And once you do so and embrace it with confidence, then people around you are going to have the ability to do so as well, because they are going to take the guide that you are given to the world and then make that determination for themselves.
This helped me.
So I have to tell you, it is the week of Thanksgiving. So I want to say to everyone who's watching, thank you so much for joining us today. It means the world to me in the small and the big ways. Jessica being here means the world to me in small and big ways. And everybody who we interact with on a daily basis, just be countless gratitude for the blessings that show up on a daily basis, because I can tell you this. Those are the big moments when you turn back and look back and you see those challenges that you got through, those bumps in the road that you overcame, that celebrations that you got to enjoy with the people that you love. Those are the big moments, and you don't want to wait around to be grateful for those, because your opportunity to do so and say, I thank you, I appreciate you, I love you, you are amazing, is now. So I'll say that right now to all of you. You are all amazing. I can't wait to see what you have to give to this world. You're doing it on a daily basis by showing up. Jessica is doing it by a daily basis, so go serve with her. If you want to check her out on Instagram, she's at Miss MS Brightside, the song 28. Check her out. She's amazing. She has all this inspirational things waiting for you. Also, she'll guide you if you have any interest to serve in the community or beyond. Certainly look for her, as she's an intensity leader in the future. And I just want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving this week. This is one of my favorite months. If you want to manifest your dreams continuously, certainly my book, The Magical Guide to Bliss, is available on Amazon. You're welcome to pick one up and enjoy, because it really was a guide that I wrote for myself to take me to live the life of my dreams. I'm a dreamer. I don't deny it. I engage it. I embrace it. It's who I am. And I'm happy to bring others along with me. So join me with regard to that. And I would love that, we all would be as lucky to have friends like this in our lives, and mentees, mentors, whatever you want to say. Remember, we're all here as deliberate creators in life. I wanted to say thank you again. You get the last word.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy for this experience, and yes, I hope you're inspired to give back. And if you see anything that catches your attention and you want to give or help someone, just do it, and it's gonna feed you a lot.
And when you do so, you manifest the life of your dreams. How could you help but do that and also be empowered by it? So, go out and live your bliss, be kind to each other, like Ellen DeGeneres would say. You are the deliberate creators of your life. When you own that, the effortless momentum of magic starts to invade.
Yes.
So, thank you. I'm grateful for you, and happy Thanksgiving. Namaste, right?
Namaste.
Amen.
Thank you.